Media and welcome you. And the platform is yours now, and I welcome you to start your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Smita. I'm absolutely happy, and of course, I was hoping we would be there in person at SJB, but I guess that we have to keep for another day. But very happy to be here and very happy to interact with SJB and the students of SJB, and of course, everyone there at the campus and both the campuses really. So I wanted to just give a little introduction. I said that it would be nice to hear from younger voices as well. So that's why we have three of us talking about our projects. Gayatri and Namit are now more than 26 to 27 years since inception. And we are two founder partners, me and Namit Verma. And of course, since then, it's grown into this huge oak tree. We have, I think, around 8 to 10 people who have been with us for more than 20 years, 15 to 20 years. Some who have been there for more than 23 years. Gauri herself has been with us for 23 years. So 23 long years of association. And we absolutely enjoy working together. That's what we believe of GNA. And at one point was known as the DNA of GNA, where all of us believe that working together, enjoying, design, and looking at seeing how we can collaborate with as many artists, engineers, technical people, to see how we can all grow as a fraternity. I think that's the learning in GNA is what we really believe in so much. I wanted to say that we have a certain way of working so that all the projects that we have really get into an absolute detail, and we at the top are also viewing this continuously. So I'm going to request Gauri now to come. So just looking at the slides that are being shared, this is of course our team where we have everyone here in our office. We have at any chance we get, we do look at taking this picture in front of our lobby. Always kind of gives us a sense of belonging. And of course, this was at a time, probably when there was a function. We celebrate things like Onam, by doing flower rangolis. At this particular place, we do celebrate Diwali. These are some of the awards that we have got through the years, and we have met a lot of distinguished people at our project sites. And of course, during various projects that we've been discussing through the years, awards that we've got. SM Krishna was a time when we really wanted to put a program together for Bangalore and the interesting spots in Bangalore, which could get connected along with Cubbon Park and the museums and the interesting spots around central Bangalore. So that was just to give you an idea of what was happening. I think the next slide will be explained by Gauri. She'll come through to explain happenings and processes in GNA. Thank you. Hi, good morning, everybody.
Have you here?
Yes. So I just wanted to, quickly run you people through the basic process that we follow for any project that comes into GNA. And then we will, look at a few images of completed projects to give you an idea of, how the whole process turns out. So, going by that, you can see that, it's always a collaborative process. So the whole thing stems around us, the client, their requirements, and there are so many debates. There are even, discussions, small fights. Then you finally need to kind of, settle down on what's best for the project, what will suit the client, and what we feel is the best for it. So it always starts with a narrative. There is always, the storytelling. It always starts with an idea, that first thought. It has to be after visiting the site. There are so many things that happen once you visit the site. It's, you have to see what's happening around. You have to kind of relate to, who your neighbors are, what's happening in front. Of course, it's not always in your hands and things could change, but it's very, very important. It's very important to see, which way your site is facing, where, and it's not for Vastu, but you have to look into those things really to analyze the sun path and the wind direction and things like that. So we come back and we are old timers. So it means that it's always pencil to paper first. And of course, it's whatever, works for each one, whether you directly get on the computer or you start sketching. But it always, for us, starts with that first sketch, and you put all your thoughts down. Then we have regular juries in the office, which sometimes, turns out to even be a war room where everybody is critiquing each other's design. But there's so much that comes out of it, because this is the first step of collaboration, which happens within the office itself. And we get everybody's experience, everybody's thoughts, ideas down on the board. And once this is done, then there are so many outside agencies we have to collaborate with. They are part of the team, but they don't necessarily sit within our studio. So this could be your service consultants, it could be artists, it could be sculptors, it could be just about anybody, but everybody at the end of the day is part of the team. So then from there, you kind of move on to material boards, you move on to small mock-ups, you move on to, markings at site, and that's when you start interacting with the team on site. Of course, there was a time when it used to be so nice when they would, make tea, coffee for us, snacks. But I guess with this COVID situation, all those will have to be put on hold for a while. But finally, you come up with, we're just going to show you a few projects, but this is something that is one of the projects that we have completed recently. So it was very interesting, but the client kept talking about the adjacent site, which never happened, but we kept dreaming about it and kept, egging them on to get it. And when the design was frozen, construction was almost completed, the client happened to, get this site. So we immediately jumped at the opportunity and we just extended the whole thing. It couldn't be part of the main living space, but this particular client entertains a lot. So we really made it into a really interesting entertainment space. And it's always also a collaboration between nature. It's a collaboration. Can you go back to the plan? It's a collaboration with the nature, spaces inside and out, blurring boundaries really. So you have this whole space like a petal, which was actually floating in water. And then it kind of grew into another smaller petal, which was open and which is the bar area. And of course, allied services like a pantry and restrooms and a whole new entrance, which you kind of came through the landscape and kind of accessed the space. And just to show you a few images, can you point out to some of them? So this was really the secondary access to come into the home, which was for the guests, because they also had their elderly parents staying with them, and if they didn't want them to be disturbed, then this worked really well. And then you kind of again, came in to access the whole garden and the entertainment space. But the home itself, I should say that these clients were extremely open and extremely open to experimentation. So when we said, why not a red door, they really jumped at it and they were open to it. So then it kind of went from there to various details where we had these transitional spaces or bridges which overlooked into the garden, leading you through one bridge to the living room and the other leading you through the to the internal, more private spaces. And we had these beautiful cutouts, you know, which were in the shape of leaves like scattered down. It was all on the garden theory really in this house. So you had these beautiful cutouts in glass which was inserted into the floor, and you can see the water and the fish below. So here again, I want to tell you that it's a close collaboration with your service consultants, because we just had the structural members running all over. Then we had to kind of work with them to make sure that we didn't see any of those, but at the same time, we weren't compromising on the structural part. And, you know, we got the effects that were we set out with. So you can see here that, you know, the detail of the handle itself, which was derived from the lotus, which was cast in metal, and where we worked with a sculptor who we do work with in various projects, Mrs. Dimpy Menon, who does sculptures in bronze. So you can see, you know, one of them at the entrance. And just to point out to you that we also like to dabble with reuse and readapt. So we had these end slabs of the granite when you go to the quarry, which is actually a waste material. So we like to use this a lot. So we actually got that and placed it to form the bridge to access the entertainment area. Revati, can you just point out to that? So that is what we're talking about. And so this is a process that you almost go through with every project, you know, give and take a few steps. Yes. So here again, to just show you that, you know, there are a lot of homes where if you have a decent garden or not, we try to work with these spaces which are decks and which almost in all cases have some kind of a light cover, because then we realize that people use it more through the day and the evenings. And also to show you that there are a lot of little elements which are so important. It could be something as small as, you know, where you place your window, and you know, which helps in cross ventilation, which helps in bringing light in. And then you decide what you want to place there, whether it's a window seat for someone to sit and read, or it's just a cozy little corner. But those things kind of are dictated by how a client uses the space eventually. This was another project which we really enjoyed working on. It's the Riverside Bar and Kitchen, which is in Whitefield. And here again, we had the opportunity to really work with spaces which were inside out, which had such a strong connect to the garden itself. So right when you enter, you walk through, it was not a very large space, and that really doesn't dictate the design or details or the final outcome. So you really walk through these small, interesting landscape elements before you actually enter the restaurant itself. So there were various small things, various small details, whether it was the railing or you know, the beam detail which really holds up the whole wooden the roof, or small lights which we of course fondly call the bumblebee. And you know, bringing in material. And restaurants, you also have to keep in mind that these are extensively used by the public during the day and the evenings. So most places, they're easy to create the effects when they are used in the evenings because of the lighting. But it's very, very important to take care of how they would look, you know, with natural light too. So there are small things that are very important, and you as students have to, really play with these things in the design itself from the initial stages. These are a few images to show you of various projects, just to show you, some of the processes that we spoke about. There is a project that we are working on. Revati, can you point out to that? Where we have collaborated with artists to make these really large paintings for us. Each painting is like 10 feet by 10 feet or 8 feet by 10 feet. So there are so many, things we go through. In our renders itself, we showed the painting with a lot of color, and then we realized that, it was a training room, that's not the effect we wanted. So we had to kind of tone it down. So there is a lot of things that happen on site too. It doesn't mean that it all happens on site. There's a lot that gets sorted out, or almost everything gets sorted out within the studio. But there is always that thing that happens along with the people who actually do the work at site. So you can just see, whether it's developing a flooring pattern, or whether it's working with material and seeing, what are the possible things that you can do with just about any material. Everything behaves so differently. Or it's something that you pick up at site. It could be, some handle or something. Like some projects, we come in to do some intervention work. So there is something that will trigger off, something that's existing that will trigger off an idea, and it's how you take it through to completion. And of course, with various tools and with various platforms and learning these days, we have access to create 3D visuals. So it almost gives you a real life experience of how the space is going to look before you actually start work. So the images on the right are actually 3D visuals of an apartment that we're doing. And it's also very important to give equal importance to projects, no matter the size. So, you can see here that from a small detail to a large training space to a small apartment, all projects go through the same process. I would, like Revati to come and talk to you about few other things that happen, behind the scenes, so to say, which are equally important for, the project to come out as well as you want it to be. Come.
Hi, hope everyone can hear me. Hi, I hope you can hear me. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, you can hear, right? Yeah.
Yes,
so,
we are able to hear you.
So I'm a junior associate architect at GNA. It's not been as long, but then the journey seems like, it's quite long. So we can just. So basically, I lead a small team of my own, and we start the journey with Gayatri ma'am, Gauri ma'am. Right at the beginning, we kind of understand the mood of our client, their wants, their desires. We kind of try to get into their shoes as much as we can to really, get the vibe of the place that they really want to be in, be it residence, be it restaurant, bar, like we showed you, even if it's an office interior space. So we start right at the beginning. We develop schematics, and then we kind of it's always a back and forth process. You never get it right in the first time. But the journey is amazing because you learn so much, and as you grow, because it's all about experience. It's all about the things you pick up when you do any project. So every project is like a new chapter for you, and as you move on, you get to understand the things that you missed out in the work that you did, like in a previous project. and you always try to push yourself. You always try to, you know, bring in unique selling points. So usually we call this as USPs. And I'm sure like in college, people have thrown that word at you and, you know, you never really knew what they were talking about. So it's all about what makes this project really tick, and, you know, what makes this project different from what you've done before. Because at the end of the day, design is all about breaking from that monotony. So in that sense, it's been really enlightening for me, because it's a really demanding process, you know, working with the team, and very enriching. And you get to meet different clients. You kind of understand, you know, the easy ones, the ones that you really have to take that extra step for, and obviously working as a team. So I think at GNE Studio, it's all about teamwork. It's you cannot pull the project off on your own. You need your engineering team, you need your interns, because they're equally as important as the architect themselves. And so we all put our blood and sweat to the work, and that is basically how the experience is. Our studio is basically an open studio. We see each other, we're not supposed to, but then we usually shout to each other from one corner to the other, and then basically we clarify things in that same space. So it's not like we're in cubicles. Rather, we you know, really share whatever doubts we have, whatever design thoughts we have. And ma'am, like Gayatri ma'am and Gauri ma'am, are only like a couple of steps away from us. So that is really important. I feel that, you know, studios have to be open. They have to be open to listening to each other, working with each other, without, you know, that ego really coming in the way. As designers, we tend to maybe have the thing that, no, what I'm doing is right. But then you learn something new when you open yourselves to, you know, other people's thoughts and opinions. And then obviously you have your site visits, which is really, really enriching. As interns, as students, it is so important to really go to the site where work is being done, you know, understand what works, what doesn't work. And then, because what you do on a drawing, what you see in a render, those are a different reality. When you go to site, you really know the situation, the things that don't work, what people on site have to tell you. There's a different learning that happens, you know, there altogether. So that is basically the final thing, really, you know, of our studio. And then once the project does get over, even in the finishing stages, you're just excited to kind of get you know, it done. Sometimes you wish it didn't get over, but then sometimes you wish it does, so that, you know, you can really go and be in the final space. So I think this is what the essence is really of, you know, working at the studio. And it's all about the relationship we have with each other and the journey we sort of grow into with each other. So I think I've spoken a lot, and I'll just ask Gayatri ma'am to like come back in. Okay.
Thank you, Revati and Gauri. Smita, are we looking to have question and answers?
Okay. Actually, Gayatri, we do have plenty of time. We are on unlimited Zoom. So feel free to kind of expand upon your talk and presentation if need be. So we still have another 15 minutes, 10 to 15
Can I
minutes.
show a couple of projects and go through them?
Yes, absolutely. I think that will be fantastic.
Okay. So while that's getting you know, set up in a minute, I just wanted, you know, Revati and Gauri spoke about collaboration, spoke about also, you know, USPs. Now, what I would like to tell the students is that, you know, we have, you know, certain things that we believe in very strongly as GNE. And I think this is what we'd like to see in all our projects. One is, of course, having nature and how nature really comes into our spaces. So whether it is an interior or architecture project, we look at the importance of green and in the importance of light, importance of ventilation, all getting into that space. And with this, what tends to happen is that you have a healthy space for one, and you also have a space that feels healthy. You know, when you have a space that brings in a lot of natural light and ventilation, the whole space feels alive, and you feel like you can breathe easy. Though, as against a space where there is probably a little bit of, claustrophobia, a feeling of claustrophobia because of, say, an air-conditioned space and, say, windows all being closed. Of course, you need both of it. I'm not saying that you don't need air-conditioned spaces, considering that, we have summers and we have areas where it's extremely hot. So these are things that, happen. Talking about USPs, we think that, every project that we bring should have at least 3 to 5, unique details that can kind of make this project stand apart. So we have a set of concepts that we bring together, that from one project to another, and we have a thought saying that each project should have, say, important, unique details, and it could be small details or they could be larger details. We could look at that. So coming to, I'm going to quickly show you. Smita, tell me how much time we had, because otherwise we tend to talk too much.
Actually, Gayatri, we have unlimited Zoom time today.
Okay,
so I'm very excited that you are sharing all this. So please feel free to take your time.
I'm just going to tell you that we talk about 15 to 20 minutes of, the projects. So this is my home at Bellandur, and we built this close to just about 13 years ago. So Smita's been here, and I'm extending an invitation to the students when the possibility arises, where you can see different details that have been done. Because we're in front of the Bellandur Lake, we wanted the effect of the lake right into the living room. Next. So we have a pool, and this is what really is, the site itself is close to 1.5 acres. And you can see the image of the lake in front of the pool on the right-hand side. That kind of is a beautiful site, because the swimming pool itself is raised to a level where there is an infinity edge, and it connects with the lake beyond. Of course, it's all about being in the center of nature, and we really have a very transparent home. Yeah. So this is what you can see. As you can see, that there's a lot of glass from each of the rooms which face the lake. This is the living room. You have you have the bedroom, you have the 3 bedrooms above, the 2 children's rooms, and of course the master bedroom. So almost all the rooms face the lake, the view, except for the kitchen, which is behind. And towards the left, you can see a bit of a guest block and a home theater that is also there, which sits as a separate unit in the garden space. Yeah. So coming to the interior, the plan is based on a typical Indian concept, where we have a central courtyard, and you have light and ventilation on all sides, and all the space opens into this area. The central courtyard actually has a skylight over, but it is also treated extremely with a contemporary touch, because you have a sculpture done by Dimpy Menon, and we have a water court in the center, which is definitely a different way of thinking from a traditional plan. So this is what it looks like, the dining with a central courtyard in between, and you have the living room in front. You can see that the palette is kept simple. We've used mainly gray. We've also looked at finishes which were different. We experimented a lot. So you have slate, which you see in the left-hand corner, which is on the exterior cladding. And we have the slate, which is like butch work, which is created like butch work on the interior, which gives a textured wall as a backdrop for some of the spaces. The other areas are again a treatment which we've experimented with, like a exposed concrete, but we've given a little plastering and we've given a texture to it to make it resemble it and get a unified feel for the interior. The lights that you see from the central courtyard are customized, and they've been done by Jenny Pinto, who now shows most of her work or retails through Purple Turtle in Bangalore. So there are different things that have come in. This is my daughter's room at the upper level. You can see that the staircase is very different. It's supported by a beam which is hidden within the wall, and you have cantilevered fabricated steps coming out of it, which is then cladded with wood. This is my son's room where we've experimented with the flooring. It's a resin flooring, which is gray in color, and the staircase is constructionally the same method, but what we've done is we've used this as a folded metal sheet, which has been pre-rusted and secured, so that you have the effect of that rust visible in that sheet on the step without it getting further corroded or being of any or it affecting your health for that matter. This is a window that you can see overlooking from my son's room, where you can see the water bodies. One on the left hand side is a mirror pool, and on the right hand side is the swimming pool itself in front of the lake. Yeah. So these are different areas, again showing the a large area of window and greenery that is visible from the bedrooms. Yeah. So details here, the staircase that we have, which is rock that we looked for and brought into the site, and put it in position, and then got it sculpted really to form the first part of the staircase. This continues then into a fabricated wooden staircase towards the top. We also have a landing in glass, so that you really see the extent of the rock behind it as well, and it's not hidden because of because of the woodwork. So you can see the glass here towards the left corner, so it shows the rock, and especially at night has a very nice effect. Wanted to tell you about the ground floor toilet, where we have almost a resort-like feel, because you have a skylight and a court which extends, and this is what we're doing continuously with a lot of projects, because why wait to go to a resort to really get this effect if you can have it at home? So whether it's here or in other projects that we're doing, we work on the privacy level, but see how we can really reach out to nature and trees and light. I think that's the main thing. You can see how we brought in this handa or hande as we call it in Mangalore, which was really taken from my grandmother's home, which was being demolished. So I thought for sentimental reasons it would be nice to have, and it's always nice to be able to bring certain things that bring memories in a home. So this is something where in South Canara you light from outside with firewood and heat water. If you're curious, we use this once a year for Diwali, so that we make a big deal of having the hande at home as well. So this is the puja room, where again we brought in artists from Guruvayur to do traditional painting, and this really brings in the color and to the home. You see, even if you see the way the light coming in is on both sides. So you have greenery on either side. You have a very rustic area for, the mandap itself. It's just a stone, granite stone, edge stone that we've used here. So it really all is more simple, but is made rich with the art, which is very much part of our tradition. Yeah, next. We've brought in things from Kerala. You should know that this is very typical from there, and of course things that we all live with. Ganeshas in stone, different details that you see. The wash basin on the left hand side is really again made out of resin from Italy itself, but it's a material that we've experimented a lot with. Here it's a wash basin. We've made bar areas with it. We've worked it out as staircases. So it comes as flat, almost like a granite piece, which is 20 mm thick. So there are different applications that one can use it for, and we've tried out various things, various elements in a design. Wanted to quickly run you through another project which is totally different, which has something where you have rounded edges for each of the for every corner of the home. Yeah. Go ahead. So here again we've opened this out into a garden space where you have a larger space, which becomes a space that people normally sit when they are at the house. So the unique feature here, one of the unique features here is this absolute open space where the glass really totally opens out and it becomes one unified space when they're entertaining. The other thing is that we've really looked at we went and looked at huge logs of wood which we could slice down, and used each of those sections of the house. So you have one as a bar counter, you have one as a dining table, you have something at the upper levels which we will show you. These are various spaces. So you can see we call it the wooden white house because most of it we've tried to use is in white palette using wood, so that there is this interesting kind of play of color. Yeah. So one more feature here was that all the furniture, a lot of the furniture is unmovable, immovable. So here we have really a concrete, brick and concrete kind of a bed, which extends into side units as such, and you have like a platform that goes across. And so here, that is a bed, there is no maintenance. It has a very different look, a different feel, but it really looks beautiful. So, the experimentation to do something that's different, that's, a thought, which can be translated easily on site, is something that all of us should definitely do. This is something that you'll have seen. Smita, we'll go through one more, okay? Shall we do Jaguar, Gauri? So we have the Jaguar project, which is a corporate office which we've done in Delhi, and it's a net zero campus. So it is in an industrial area, so it we have to have it's a combination of having the factory as well as the office itself. So what we did was, Namit of course was the main person in this project. What we did was, from the road, you have two lower floors of the factory which you can, Gauri, can you point to the factory area? Yeah, so you have two floors of the factory, and the public area or the office and the corporate area is really happens much at a higher level. So it's technically the third floor probably. So what happened was that from the main road, you know, you have this beautiful driveway that really takes you to the main entrance. But what it also does is climbs that 2 levels so that you you hide all the factory area under landscape. So the form of, you know, the building, which is supposed to look like an eagle in flight, you know, and which is the inspiration. It was supposed to be, the clients really wanted it to be. It's a, you know, it's a country which is now in probably 50 plus countries all over. The product is sold 50 plus countries across the world. So they wanted you know, building that they would like really be proud of, and where they could call a lot of their guests. So there are different kinds of people who are invited to this building: architects, interior designers, of course, and a lot of people, dealers, and real estate you know, companies are all invited here to really see their products, which are you know, showcased inside in the building itself. Yeah, next. As you can see, the landscape is, you know, a huge part of this building. Jaguar be using water as their main element really shows you know, how we wanted to kind of make a large water body outside as well. So it, you know, the relationship with water is really visible. So coming to the interior, we had this grand atrium space, which is central to a whole lot of things. If you look at, we have a water body in the center, and we have this space where on one side we have this mural, which is, you know, again customized. On we have an auditorium. We have a sculpture in the center of the court. And I think if students, Smita, if students go to Delhi on their you know, study tour, they should definitely go here, because there are a lot of elements that really would be interesting and of and exciting for students. So you can see the image on the left hand side, where, you know, you have you know, a shape of the cutout, which really, you know, then is highlighted by the skylight, and you have this sculpture, which then really is a fabulous piece which signifies the importance of water, both in life as such, in nature, and of course to the company as a product. So these are you know, on the 5 elements that were done, customized, and there's a story behind each one of them. So, you know, what's the name of the Play Clan with Himanshu really went into a detail of you know, detailing out each of these murals, and to tell us what each of it signifies. So what we did was, with all of this, we actually put a little booklet together, because, you know, one sees it, one may not understand it. So every person who comes into the Jaguar corporate office goes out with a little booklet which has an explanation of each of this and all the artwork really. These are office interiors. These are the directors and the joint directors office. Jaguar now has also gotten into lighting. So we brought in an element of lighting into each of their offices as well, which, you know, which forms the backdrop behind one of their, I mean, their table, or forms like a textured wall in each of their offices. This is also something of, you know, is really beautifully done, and it's probably one such space in the country. It is their experience center, which really talks about, you know, their beginnings, their history, their directors, their story, and the products from one company, which was ESCO, to what it is today. and their transition into various fields and various, um, getting into lighting and things like that. It's beautifully done by Michael Foley, and also takes, I think, around 20 minutes to go through this entire thing before you come out of this interpretation or experience center. Last slide, just showing you the factory, which is below this. It is not, though we have covered it with landscape in front, it really gets a lot of light from 3 other sides. So it is not a dark space. We do have a lot of light that we see. Smita, are we done? These are some of the new buildings that we are working with for individual cities where Jaguar can have their experience centers. These are some of the options that we've shown.
Gayatri, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful project. I know getting a LEED Platinum rating is one of the most stringent and rigorous processes. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate you and your team on this excellent work. And we are so honored to actually look at the details of this project. So maybe I will hit upon you if our students are on their way to Delhi at some point and we require the permissions to visit this. I think it will be a fantastic opportunity for them. So thank you so much. And thank you also to Gauri and Revati for presenting such a wide diversity of projects on so many scales. And Gayatri, I'd definitely like to say that I have experienced some of your spaces firsthand, and I can vouch for the wonderful integration of nature within all your projects. And one of the most impressive aspects of the Jaguar factory is how the daylighting is gotten, and definitely one of the considerations for the LEED Platinum rating too. So right from your residences to all the hospitality projects and commercial projects, I can vouch for how beautifully nature in some form of the other is integrated. I think it's a tremendous challenge in a lot of commercial projects, as well as the mandates by variety of clients. So kind of to sneak that in, I think it's such a great portfolio. I think this is a great opportunity for all the students who are on this platform today, because we have, as you know, new batches of students joining in, and those who have not met or been lucky enough to sit through some of your talks earlier, I think this is such a great opportunity for them to be grateful for you and your team for putting this together for us. So we'll open the platform for anybody who wants to ask any questions or have any comments. I would request all the participants to keep it short. If you have a question, let it be just a quick question. If you have any, always welcome. To open this up, I will start with a small question from our Dean, Professor Dr. M.N. Chandrasekhar. He has written in the group chat, Madam, has the Bellandur lake froth and the inlets to lake catching fire affected you in any way? This is for your residential project. Did you ever have to wonder that living besides an urban lake would pose such a unique challenge? So I know this is a question for all Bangaloreans who are, curious about living at the lake, which is in the news for all kinds of reasons. But from my visit, it looks so pristine and beautiful and serene. So I will let you answer that, Gayatri.
So I have to say that for us, from where we live, the Bellandur Lake is, good from far, but far from good, So that is to sum it up. But from where we are, like you mentioned, Smita, it looks beautiful because we're in the mid, in a mid section where, not where the water really flows out of the lake, as most waters, move from one lake to another. And that's where the frothing happens, because there is a level difference of almost about 6 feet, where the water then goes back into, rainwater kind of a drain towards, Hadlur side and beyond. But what has been happening now, and thanks to the public and everyone, that there is a lot of work going on right in front of us for the rejuvenation of the lake. I'm sure it's going to take a long time, but the work has started, and I think it's going to be a place where people can walk around, jog around, cycle around, and I'm looking forward to it. Though all this time we've never had any privacy issues, and people really being able to look into the house from this area. But I think it'll be great to be able, for anyone to be able to cycle or walk around this, because it's a huge lake, being the biggest lake in Bangalore. And no, we've never ever thought of moving out from there, froth or no froth.
So we have, thank you so much for addressing that. We have another fantastic question from Bhagya, who is an associate professor at SJB School of Architecture and Planning. She asks, how are you relooking and approaching design considering the current situation? Because all the architects are looking at addressing the pandemic situation, which could be temporary, or changing the way we think and live for a long time to come. So has some internal discussions or design approach changes have happened? So just picking your thoughts on this. Thank you.
So what has been happening in our office is that we've been working 50%. We've been coming in every alternate day in the last 1 month, and before that it was just once a week. Most people are working from home, and everyone is comfortable with working with home. Of course, there is a requirement for us to be sitting face to face, discussing things, meeting clients, and all of it. So the reality is that working from home is becoming a comfort zone. And I think we ourselves in GNA will probably discuss this, next week, in the first week of July, when most of us are going to be coming back to the office and meeting up. But in discussion with various architects, I think social distancing is going to be something that we need to look into. Working from home is going to be definitely a big thing. What happens with working from home are two things in office situations. People may not expand, because the point is that say even 30% work from home, there is going to be a hold on expansion. But by 30% working from home, some amount of social distancing is going to be achieved in these spaces that they already have. So one needs to look at it in existing buildings, plus one needs to look at it in the future of planned buildings. Also areas like having lunch spaces. How does that work? How does coffee work? We in our office work with paper cups right now. But these are things that we need to really look at to see how in the future to make it sustainable as well. This is right now short term. We've been thinking of it only till August, but I think one needs more discussion to take it beyond. Homes also are going to have a definite impact. There are going to be spaces which need to be home offices. We were discussing that. Also, husband and wife both work, and they cannot be in the same room while they're having a Zoom talk, probably with their individual offices. So each person might want their own space. Children now are, attending school from home. So there are various areas that probably need to be designed or allocated for these spaces where individuals can really have screen time, really, but more in terms of from a work perspective. So discussions are on, even on new projects for apartments and things like that, as to how to look at it. We're looking at it two ways. One is extra office space in homes, and two is in a large residential project to have an office block either across the road or part of the campus. So people can actually walk there if need be and sit in that office space. and maybe not disturb the home. So you have that flexibility of both.
Thank you so much for that. I think this is at the forefront of a lot of architects' minds, just trying to perceive not only how the practice itself is gearing up for new situation in terms of work environment, but also to anticipate what will happen to design programs in the future. What would be the client's requirements, or how we can, be on top of the game, step in and try to suggest new ways of coping with the situation to clients.
Right.
So thank you so much. I know we are all thinking on our feet and trying to evolve new ways of design. So one of the questions that we want to ask, maybe Gayatri and Gauri and Revati, is also regarding the mix of materials that I know, Gayatri, you have been doing for a very long time. And this is a fantastic mix of different kinds of materials in all your projects. And I know that it involves tremendous amount of detailing, maybe some kind of propping before, a trial before the actuals. So how do you cope with the mixing of materials in all these fantastic interiors that you have shared with us?
Smita, just before that, I'm going to sign off.
Okay.
And, because I have to go for another meeting.
All right.
Into town. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm looking forward to meet all you students at college itself when the time for when it COVID permits.
Okay? Thank you so much, Gayatri. It has been a pleasure. Thank you. Yeah. So Gauri and Revati, my question is about the mix of materials.
Yes.
A tremendous way of mixing so many different kinds of materials, from stone to wood, plaster, and newer materials. So with regard to the design detailing that happens, or the process of deciding, selecting, implementing, your thoughts on that would be great.
So I think a lot of it comes with experience, a lot of it comes from travel, a lot of it comes from just opening your eyes and really being open to things. A lot of times when we are somewhere and you just need to be sensitive, you need to look around, you need to imbibe, and I think finally it's all there in nature. When you look around and you see, sometimes we feel this color doesn't go with that, and then you see a flower and you see those exact same colors and you're like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. So but of course we trouble a lot of vendors. We invite vendors to our office every Wednesday. At least this was in the pre-COVID times, when they would come in and they would make a presentation. And it's not always about what looks good or what goes well with something, but it's also how it would react, and what are the properties of it, and in which climate are you using it, and things like that. So there's a lot of research and a lot of knowledge gathering that has to be done. We have a very nice system where everybody sits for these presentations and information is shared within the office, so we have access to this also. And yes, finally it's having a keen eye, and we don't hesitate in preparing these boards in the office, and we put all the material together. And even when it's a single room, we put all the pieces of furniture, whether it's a sketch or an image, together to make sure that everything goes well, and there is that marriage between the materials, and there is a marriage between different textures that you're using. And some of it, of course, is trial and error. A lot of it is with mocks. So there are a lot of times when you go to site and you sit down there, you spend a lot of time, you work with the workers, you get them to make samples, you say, no, replace this with that, and so it is a lot of work, but I think it pays off, and it really helps to travel, to be open, and to talk to each other, because sometimes within the office I might be aware of something, Revati might be aware of something else. So when you discuss it, I'm sure it happens in your studio. I mean, that's what we're used to. When you have active discussions, then there's a lot that can come out of it.
Thank you so much, Gauri. Segueing from that is the connection with students. I have a question here in group chat from Professor Bhagya again. what could be the architectural and professional message for the new graduating students and budding architects. I would also connect it with your insight into this mixing of materials and the process that you have described. And I think, as you rightly pointed out, starting from school and getting out. But anything from your experience, because I know you've been connected with us for a long time now, so you are very familiar with the education and the academics side of architecture. So you can kind of maybe talk to this bridge between being in college and graduating, and what you can kind of communicate to all the students we have here on the platform today.
I should say one thing that, from my time, when there was such a big disconnect between what you did in college and when you were thrown into the real world to what we see now, we see that definitely things have changed over the time. And you people should be given credit for that, to actually go back and toil with, the management and students and, getting this new curriculum together. It wasn't what it is today. And so I think hats off to you people for doing that. And we see, at least I see how, when we have trainees coming in every year, how things have changed over the years. These days, they are so much more open, they are enthusiastic, they know so much more. So obviously that connect is there to the real world, and it's not two separate things. But within our studio, we have this really interesting program that we have for the trainees, where they are given a project, which of course they do, work on mostly after office hours, because during office hours they are working on live projects. And but they work on this, and they work on it where we tell them who the client is, and we give them a choice. So it's mostly personalities from different streams, connected with art, with culture, with theater, where they're all, either old clients or their friends or acquaintances of Gayatri and Namit, and we have access to them. So they actually go and they interview them. So the whole process that we go through with a client, they actually do it with a live client, because when you're a trainee, you're working on some aspect of the project but not everything. We do make sure they go to sites, we do make sure that they're part of discussions with a client. So it's so important to even learn that body language, or how you need to talk to a client, how you need to interact, and how you even make notes or minutes of meetings. So there are so many aspects of it. So we try to guide them through most of them, which hopefully will help them in their journey going forward. But I think this particular thing, it's rigorous that we put them through, really, really benefits them. And then they display their models, they display their designs, and we tear it apart literally. So, but I think they get a lot out of it. And in the process, they are part of these presentations. So they do, and when I think part of the program is also to collect material. So we talk to vendors who we, are acquainted with. And it's not just going there and collecting samples, but we actually send them to their experience centers. We ask them to, do so much for it and then document it, so that we also use that material that they are working on. So it's not just academics, but we try to put it into practice. And when they see you doing it, or when they see you going crazy over, some small thing, they first wonder, like, why are they making us do it or redo it so many times? But by the end of it, I hope they understand, why it's being done, and that the process is so important. That when they go to site and they see a completed project, or they see something, live, that they worked on a drawing, and you actually see it coming up, that joy, one, and two, actually seeing it, oh my God, this is how it looks, I think makes a big difference. So I don't know how much of it that you all practice, as in, I'm sure you'll do lots of it, But there was a time when we used to have a lot of students coming in and saying, can we see a completed project, and things like that. Or like what you spoke about, if there's some time when you'll actually be able to take them to Delhi. I think that learning is immense. And like we also go through it when we travel. When you're sitting within a room, it's different. But when you're actually venturing out in a group and seeing things, you are, I think, more perceptible to, imbibing whatever it is. I
Thank
hope that
you.
answers
Yes,
your
yes. Thank you so much, Gauri. We have Professor Jai Ganesh, as you know, who is heading the School of Design here at SJB School of Architecture and Planning, and a number of the interior design students who have signed up to watch this webinar. So, leading off from your insight into this, for the students while they are in college, would it really help for them to get to know their materials, get to look at a variety of art and so on and so forth. So now in this current situation where we are not in the campus, but they have some time to do some self exploration, is there anything that you can suggest to the students who are on this platform today?
Absolutely. It's not only students, it's all of us. There are many times in life when you have to unlearn and learn new things. And it's the same with material. It's the same. All of us go through that. There are times when we just cut off from regular work and we say no, that we have to go out and you have to explore what is there in the market. You have to understand the material. There are times when you have to sit with that carpenter. He knows so much more than you because he is actually doing the work. Or the stonemason, or there are so many times when we go to the sawmill, and it's like we just don't do it with pictures. You actually go there and you have to pick the log. You have to understand that it can be cut in so many different ways, and you have to tell them whether you want a vein cut, whether you want a cross cut, because the material looks and behaves totally differently with the way it's cut itself. Or there are times when we go and we go to the brick kiln, we go to the people who are actually dealing with slates, or whichever material it is. And now, of course, okay, we can't move out so much, but we live in a time when so much is available online. And I think it's so important to educate yourself. It's not just your curriculum, that the minute you do that, it just opens out a whole thing. And I'm sure there'll be different discussions that you all will have in your studio itself. It's the same with us. Our studio is like a classroom at the end of the day. So we realize that by doing a little research, by going that extra mile, it really helps you. And it doesn't matter where you are in your career, how many years of experience, or you've just come in. But definitely people who just come into the studio, we tell them, we work, we have a 5-day week. So we say that, Saturdays you have to go out and you have to educate yourself. You have to see it. You have to, whenever, I mean, to be very frank, every time there's a new restaurant or a new showroom or whatever there is, we take the trouble of going. That's including Gayatri and Amit. We actually go and see it. And it's so nice to appreciate each other's works. Or if we have close friends like Sanjay Mohe or the Mistries, there are times when we get together and we discuss projects, and there's so much that comes out of it. So I guess it all stems with being open, and having that zest to learn will definitely get you going and keep you interested in the subject that you have picked.
Thank you so much for answering that, because I know that this is so relevant to all of us, and definitely will benefit. And as I think we have kind of reached our end of the session, I'd like to thank you, Gauri, so much for coordinating and being available to give us the presentation. And I'm so happy to see you actually.
Yes.
And it is tremendous that we have Revati also here today, and it's fantastic that we have one of your juniors who's now such a promising upcoming architect presenting on behalf of the firm. So congratulations, Revati. and it's so nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
And hear your thoughts and get a presentation from you. I think this is one of the work cultures that I absolutely love at Gayatri Namit Architects, where everyone is kind of part of the whole process, and it's such an inclusive and dynamic work environment. So I think today we got a fantastic snapshot of the firm as well as the projects. So I think this is such a unique blend, and thank you so much for all of this. And we look forward to further associations, kind of bridging this gap between practice and education. So I think this has been a continuous effort from both GNA and SJB SAP. And thanks to Gayatri, Gauri, Revati, and Dean Professor M.N. Chandrasekhar and Professor Jai Ganesh on behalf of SOD, School of Design. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Smita, and hope to meet you soon.
Yes. I wish everyone a very good day, and thanks to all the participants also for joining in. So hopefully we'll have more sessions in the coming months or through the years, or collaborations in different ways.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.